think Game 3 will look good for them as well.
There's some hardcore pros on this team. A loss like this won't phase them. I mean, they've been here countless of times. You know, Zai played more pro games than I did, so I'm somewhat of a veteran, and just brush it off. Let's go Game 3.
The pure number comparison of how many games these players have played, how many times they walked out on this stage is immeasurable. But Evie, we saw a similar strat for Liquid coming out, at least in the Pugna and the Luna, maybe not so much in the rest of the supporting cast. Would you like to see them triple down on that, I should say? Or is it like, okay, it was a tough win for Game 1 and it was a tough loss for Game 2. Maybe we look at something else for Game 3.
And I think just approach the draft as it unfolds, honestly, because there's nothing in Liquid's draft that I would look at and try to change. Like Matthew mentioned, there was some issues with the play there, but honestly, I can see why they did it. They had such an insane net worth lead at that point in the game, and sometimes you're just in that side of the map, and one of your players goes, guys, I think we can go high ground, and you just follow suit, right? But I do think the Luna looks great for them, the Pugna looks great for them. They wouldn't be bad at all if they ran it back. Whereas Gaming, even though they just won Game 2, I think they definitely need to adjust the draft that they just played, because even though both teams in that last game were trying to make equal amounts of moves, Gaimin was just getting out-farmed, right? I saw Gaimin make smoke plays. I saw them use their Phoenix. I saw them rotate with their Pango. It's not like they just sat there and did nothing, but the Tricore of Gaimin could not out-farm the Tricore of Liquid. The Tricore of Liquid just racking up net worth even though Gaimin was making moves, so they need to correct that. I still think they need to fix their late game scaling.
All right, well, the tempo was the question coming into this series. If Gaming Gladiators were able to hit the same style that they did against Nouns yesterday, and it's already been answered in these two games, so how much do you focus then on lanes for themselves, Aoi, and drafting, or that late game?
I think game and lanes are important because they're very comfortable for the position that they usually end up after lanes, which is a bit ahead. Something that I think they need to look out for is I feel like they've been playing with a bit of desperation. I mean, the fight that made them lose the lead in that game was when they chased a Tidehunter like 1,000 range into his tier 2, got 4-man ravaged and meteor hammered. This is not a play that you usually see from Gaming Gladiators. So I think they should sort of think back to their practice, like what makes us the most comfortable so we can perform at our own peaks. It would be important. I think for them, that is having a strong offlane. I think that is like being able to rotate to the mid runes after they do on lanes.
And is that why we might not see too many changes when it comes to bans between these two teams? Primal, Bristleback, Spirit Breaker not getting let through in either of those two games?
I think so. I think the Pugna might be an interesting ban. We saw that Liquid in Game 2, they shifted the Chen ban up in priority because they thought that, one, it frees up the ban in the second phase, 2, Gaming might take it earlier. Pugna might also be similar because I feel like if Gaming want to have strong lanes, there's a support that sort of nullifies any aggression.
Yeah, also the Kunkka, I feel that hero looked great in both games, even though it just lost. It just does so much by way of countering Quinn's hero pool, and it makes it so that Liquid always have this means to take team fights, even if they're in losing positions. So I think I'd like to see this Kunkka either taken or addressed.
I am actually very surprised about that Kunkka because he's been so disruptive in both games. The boat, especially in game number 2, put them in that position to get Roche to try and push high ground in the bottom lane of Gaming Gladiators. And even later down, when Gaming Gladiators were up in gold lead, the Kunkka was still having quite a lot of impact. Maybe not the burst damage they needed, but still a lot of impact and disruption to fights.
Kunkka is great. I just hope they don't stack up heroes like Kunkka and Tidehunter together. Essentially, there are two big circles. They create these stuns all around them, and they have two heroes doing the same thing. Ideally, you have certain jobs for heroes, and you don't really want to stack them because it's redundant. It's like diminishing returns. It just doesn't work.
I like that point a lot, actually, because at the end of the day, if you look at their 3 cores, if Razor links Luna, you have 0 damage. Your damage is completely limited. You're not going to touch anyone on Gaming Gladiators. That's sort of what ended up happening. Thrasher at the end, as long as he got the link on Luna, he could literally run in 1v5 and kill everyone, and there's just nothing stopping it. I think once you pick these Tidehunters or Kunkkas, you need to make sure that the other core is going to provide a lot of damage as you already have the CC.
And the thing about that Luna too, as the game progressed, is there was just so much non-committal damage coming out of Gaimin, where Luna had to commit her defensive items and her BKB early on, and then she just couldn't turn around. There were some fights that looked decent. When Razor had the Aegis and they managed to burst him down the first time, you felt a glimmer of hope as a Liquid fan, right? But then all of a sudden you're like, wait, why are they taking so much damage? It's because the Phoenix is throwing out spells, the Quinn is throwing out swashbuckles and shield crashing in, and then all of a sudden, even though they committed to a kill, all of them are 30% HP.
Well, let's see what's going to happen for game number 3 as it's popping up.
Team Liquid versus Gaming Gladiators. Game 3.
I'm so happy that we got a game number 3 between these two teams. It would have been a bit of a disappointment if we saw either one eliminated in a 2-0. So they're one apiece right now. A lot lies on this game number 3 if they're going to be able to keep their run alive in TI-12. Is the Kunkka going to get picked up again? Are we going to get a surprise Razor last pick? Or maybe Matu's favorite, a Lone Druid?
I hope they just don't tunnel vision this Kunkka. I mean, it's a great hero, but it can be countered. No Dota 2 hero is ever that broken that you just like pick it and he has nothing going on. I mean, maybe sometimes, but this is not the case for Kunkka. We're talking about, like, it's a normal hero after all, so...
Balanced, you would say?
Balanced? I mean, Dota generally is balanced when it comes to TI.
Bad hero?
Kunkka, it's like, it's a good hero.
But only by like 5 or 10%?
No, I mean, there's only 2 definites.
Oh,
it's a bad
there's
hero
nothing
or
in
it's a
between.
good hero. Obviously.
There's
no,
double
like,
good. It's only one.
Oh, I see. I thought maybe it was like a sliding scale.
We used to be pro players, so like this is what we know that the audience
Yeah.
doesn't. It's good or bad.
Kinda. There's no in between.
We'll get in the inside of the ex-pro player minds over there. With these bans, nothing is being changed up at all, actually. They're running it back for game number 3.
They are in a position though where Dazzle is still in the pool unless they choose to ban it out themselves. Oh, they prioritized the Pugna over the Dazzle. Honestly, nothing was wrong with Liquid's draft or play in that last game, so I can understand why they go back to this opener.
One adjustment I'd like Liquid to make is last game they ended up with the Pugna 4 and Enchantress 5. I feel like they were pretty all in the lanes. Like, we're sort of sitting here and we're talking about the high ground, but they might have felt a bit desperate because you have Pugna Enchantress versus Morta Phoenix. I feel like the enemy 2 supports can fight your heroes with buybacks and more. Like, you just don't have any contribution mid and late game. So I like them. Like, game 1 they had the Weaver, which scales a bit more than like some Ench or Pugna. I mean, it depends who's Ench, but I'd like to see them pick up a bit more like scale on their supports.
Are we gonna see Morta again for gaming? Just stick to their guns?
I would think so. I wouldn't see any reason not to. I mean, Tofu was 6-1 last game. He had a lot of impact. I think, again, to be honest, the lane went a bit worse than expected, which surprises me because historically I feel like Tofu and Ace have always done really well, specifically versus Liquid in their lanes. I think, I mean, so there was like the no Smurf thing in Dota. So Ace started playing all his games on like a rank 1k account, and he was like struggling because it's like not the Dota he's used to. So that might have affected the synergy, because I think usually they get to queue into a lot of games together and play a lot. And I think because of this no Smurf thing, like Tofu and Ace have not played together as much as before.
It could have been. I mean, Ace is the cornerstone in my eyes for this team. Like, everything revolves around this one hero. I mean, one player. He's like very specific type of player. Like, he's very greedy. He wants to win his lane. Like, I mean, he almost has to win his lane.
I think he has to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if gaming wants to win a Dota 2 game, Ace has to win his lane. There's no...
Which has happened like every single lane though, right?
Exactly, that's funny. Gaming, like, normally in Dota, you can't win 3 lanes. You have to make sacrifices. At most, you usually expect to win 2. But gaming always tries to win every single lane, and then they just play off of that.
Striving for perfection, you know, win all 3 lanes. Hopefully the game is easy from then on out. Do you think that that's what they were contemplating then for that first pick? Do we go Murata, or do we try and pick up a stable Ace hero that is going to have a really good time in lane, and they're going to have to try really hard to counter in draft?
I sort of feel like they feel like the Morta Force is the strongest laner. So if you're going to go in with this philosophy of Ace needs to win his lane, you should feel like, oh, if Morta's the strongest laner, there's no reason for us not to pick this hero. We think it's going to give us the most stable lane. We think it gives us the best chance of winning the lane. Why would we not take this hero?
I'm sure they were debating it, you know, like the conditions to have a good game. Are we going to run it 3rd time again? I felt like they could have won the first game, but Liquid did. Liquid could have won the second game, but Gaming did, and they're like, oh, I mean, let's give it 2 chances. Let's just keep the pick same and let's play better Dota. That's what I like.
It's the most confusing when it's sort of like that too. Like, you're not too sure if you should be changing something because the games are like a bit wonky. And you can't learn on the spot because you don't have access to the replays after the game. You have 15 minutes between each game. You need to reset, use a washroom, maybe eat a banana, whatever. You don't have time to actually do real analysis of what happened. You just have to go with your gut.
I love eating bananas.
I know.
Is that what you were doing in your 15-minute break? Between games?
Partly, yeah.
Probably.
Just half a banana and I'm ready to go.
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's-
sugar like decreases the amount stress affects you. So
Okay.
you need something with a little bit of sugar.
That's it, you had bananas on hand. Well, Effie, all the way down there, you've been a little bit quiet. The Lone Druid, it's getting banned out. It's getting a little bit of focus. And the Faceless Void you brought up as a potential last pick for Game 2, and now it's making its way in bans for Game 3.
I mean, it makes sense that the Void got banned out here because I think they were taking a while just to talk about this banning phase, because if they were going to run back the Phoenix, that Void wouldn't have been banned outright, but they decided to go for the Weaver themselves, which now you have two strong support into carry flexes in this Weaver and this Muerta, and Zero got ignored in the last game, but it still fits into that hyper-aggressive game and we talk about. But now that the Centaur is taken away, which was a potential with the Muerta, or it could have been the Phoenix opener with that Muerta, the Centaur Pugna is one of the strongest lanings you can have in this patch, and I do not think you can put a Muerta carry versus it. But that is the trade-off. Like in the game 1, we saw them trade the Centaur for the Weaver. It didn't work out for Gaimin, but we'll see if it works out this time.
Something that sort of surprises me, I think, has Trine been ignored like all 3 games?
No, he
Both-
did get banned in Game 1.
Okay, got
and then
banned in
he
Game
got
1.
banned in the second phase for Game 2.
Okay, well that hero's open. I think the Muerta versus Centaur, that matchup, I sort of agree with you. Like Centaur has a lot of threat on him, especially if someone starts taking the gate. But I have seen some angles where Centaur where like you go for like an overwhelming lane versus him, like some Muerta Tuskar, maybe a Muerta Trine. I think that actually could be something they can look at if they want to end up running this Muerta carry. I think it's just a bit awkward if they, because I'm not too sure where Weaver's going, because I think you should probably not put him as carry versus Centaur. He's very reliant on winning the lane, but then you have to put the Muerta carry, and I think if you do that, you have to commit on the lane really hard.
I mean, it could still be a double support duo. I mean, you could pick something like a Grimstroke to enable this Weaver on lane and potentially play for kills onto the Centaur. Like, that could be a potential option for sure. But I just feel like Pugna plus Centaur, no matter who you put them versus, they are going to find ways to pressure that lane.
I like that they picked the Skywrath. I think the Pugna 4 for Liquid, it doesn't do enough for them. Like, it works really well for some teams. I think, like, VP, for example, they ran, like, Pugna 4 really well. Same for BetBoom. But I think for Boxy, like, he wants more options on the map. Pugna's a very static 4. You look at the lane, you'll maybe look at some stacks, you may check the rune, but you don't have any real kill threat on your ganks. You don't really, like, make the plays. I think Boxy's important to Liquid in that sense.
It also gives you damage to kill the Muerta, right? And now you have a silence to potentially deal with the Weaver, and you can just chain into the Centaur stun, and you can look for mini plays around the map that don't necessarily involve these 5-man team fights.
If this is an offlane Wraith King, then this fits the description that you were talking about, Owie, of how Ace likes to play.
I think it's still, like, flex a bit. Like,
Yeah.
the Wraith King can go to carry as well, but honestly, I wasn't even thinking of the offlane Wraith King. I think, yeah, that would be pretty good for them here.
I mean, the lane would be rough for him on safe lane. I feel like Centaur Sky might just over-harass him and he can't really farm.
It'll be
That could
really
be
depend on your first wave, right? Like, if you
Yeah.
get the Skeletons going, like, the Skywrath is really easy to kill, but I think, like, Centaur Skywrath is one of the strongest lanes in Dota. It's not
Yeah.
easy to just go in casually. You need to have, like, either an equally strong lane or sort of, like, a plan about how you're going to cheese the first levels.
I'm super worried for this Sky Mage. Like, in paper it's good, but I feel like in the game, like, they need some real, like, protectors, like policemen, that stop the criminals from entering Skywrath mages and Pugna's territory here. Like, you need, like, just like
The security guards, the
security
big
guard,
beefy body
exactly
guards.
what we have
Especially when
here
you're
all
playing
around.
against
you
this
know?
Weaver, right? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's support or core, like, this Weaver's going to look to get on your backline this game. I think one thing that really helps is the Centaur Stampede. I've always liked playing these squishy range supports on the Centaur. It feels like it's so easy to position in a fight. But I can really see a game where, like there's like a very thin line between like having a lot of impact in the fight and you're just too far up trying to have impact, you just feed.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering why they would go for the Skywrath Mage instead of the Phoenix, which also seemed to be a popular hero this series, because I feel like Phoenix plus Centaur can accomplish similar things, but maybe they are just scared of Weaver's ability to pressure Phoenix early on.
I think the Phoenix is not quite the same like Boxy type hero, that's why. Like, I think on another team I can really see that Phoenix as well, but I think he really wants the ability to move towards mid and impact that matchup.
Yeah,
And we can see like the lanes are sort of set for game, I think. Like some Weaver plus Furion and Muerta plus Wraith King, but honestly, they can still make adjustments to their lineup if they think that the matchups aren't good.
10 seconds
do you think the Nature's Prophet is better on 5 just because Emerita's a better 4, or a Weaver's a better 4, or is it because Nature's Prophet on a 5 offers more to the map and the rotations?
I think it depends on the team. Do you have any idea, Matu?
Not really, no.
I think there are like teams that play more for the safe lane, and you have the Furion 4, and you can really snowball that.
Okay.
Like the 4 Furion, I think it's a bit less committal when you rotate mid because all offlaners are more like set for being left alone.
Yep.
But some teams, I mean, my team was one of them. Like we really liked it on 5, for example, because we felt like you could like pressure into the lanes that you wanted to pressure more, which is usually our offlane. I think something I'm not too sure they're going to consider is like if they can like flex their lineup to put this Morta carry against Terrorblade. I think that's one of the best matchups in the game when, I mean, Terrorblade does nothing to Morta and you just kill him in 3 hits.
I would really like that. Like,
Just wondering how can they do it though? Like are you gonna Weaver Morta lane? Maybe like Weaver 4, Wraith King 3, Furion 5?
I guess you can't do it. 'cause
It's like a scary lane, like Morta Furion versus Skywrath Centaur, right?
I don't think you're ever running a Fury on mid here. That's
Oh, for
what
sure not Fury.
Yeah,
Like
it's
Fury
like, it has to be a Quinn hero last pick.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just thinking about this Nature's Prophet, honestly. This hero has really fallen out of favor, and I guess when you look at heroes like Skywrath Mage and Pugna, you think that you can punish them very easy on with a TP into Sprout rotations, regardless of where you're laned, but as the game progresses, if Liquid picks some kind of jump hero on this mid lane for Nisha, something that can punish this Nature's Prophet, which I hope he does, the Earth Spirit gets found out, the Kunkka gets found out, but heroes in that archetype, then Furion just doesn't really provide that much for a Gaiman's draft, so it feels like they're just all in on getting these early kills, or maybe they're kind of boxed in later to just playing for pushing lanes and trying to play them up with their Weaver, their Wraith King Skeletons, Furion cutting waves, but to be honest, I don't like this Furion pick. I feel like it threw a wedge into the draft a little bit.
Looking at the last phase of bans between the two teams, Kunkka taken out now, Earth Spirit taken out, Necro. Any other big Quinn heroes that are sticking out that Liquid really need to be careful of?
Quinn heroes?
Yeah.
Oh, Pangalier's out.
Yep, Pengo, Necro.
a lot of them have been taken out. I feel like we're gonna see some wild picks here. I'm hoping Dazzle is banned, unfortunately.
Okay. So TA straight into a TA ban straight into a puck pick for Liquid.
The mid pick is not easy here, I think, because they have so much magic bursts on Liquid. Like, you can't pick any of these. I mean, DK's not really a hero in the meta right now, but the example versus Puck that you think of.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could see it here because it's objectively
work
just
here?
looks good. Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah. I feel like they need a tanky dude that goes in and does damage like all the other mid heroes.
For sure, you need some fight start here.
Yeah.
I mean, this puck pick throws a wedge in a lot of Gaiman's potential last picks, because Pango would have been a great pick versus the backline heroes of Liquid. It also would have been a way to pressure the Terrorblade, but Puck's coil makes it hard. And this Void Spirit is a Quinn specialty hero from the days of old. The hero has fallen off, but in a sense, it provides the same burst that you need against the Sky and the Pugna. It can also pressure the TV early on with rotations, but I mean, traditionally, coil also counters the Spirit hero. It does counter Void Spirit. We'll see, though.
What are you guys laying with these two drafts now? Aoi, if you want to go first.
I honestly feel like it's really hard for Gaimin to scale into Liquid. I feel like this Terrorblade is going to have a really free game, and unless like Gaimin do super on the lane, which they can, I think it'll be hard for them.
All right, look, Mato, I already know that you're going to go for Liquid, so instead of asking your opinions, we'll let Blitz speak for himself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the Blitz from Team Liquid. Give it up, crowd. Come on, please. Blitz, it's been one hell of a journey throughout the entire year, and we've come to this moment, of course, a Game 3 between you and Gaming Gladiators. I mean, this is how it always works out. But I do want to talk about your guys' confidence. There's a lot of flex picks happening, Muertas, Weavers, things like that. But your draft, this one, especially this game, very locked into what everyone's going to do. Is that confidence in yourselves, or is that confidence against the enemy?
No, we have a lot of confidence in ourselves. I mean, obviously Gladiators has had our number in finals, but this ain't the finals, so I mean, I think it's gonna go pretty well. I just don't like making definitive statements, and I don't want to like lock in and say, oh, we're gonna smash these guys, because I mean, I like them too, and I think they're good people, and there's no hate between either of our teams, even though we see each other in the finals all the time. So.
All right, and as you've noticed, you have a lot of fans out there in the arena, so I did want to give you an opportunity to say something to the Liquid fans and everyone watching at home.
Oh, I just want to say thank you for coming to support us, or if you're just here to support Dota. I think regardless of whatever team loses, we live very charmed lives. We're super lucky to do this. I mean, I have a bunch of friends in there that I hope win, but regardless, you know, there's a lot of family and friends to us, a lot of management here too, just to support us. I mean, I think we're super lucky, regardless of what happens.
Absolutely, and we are lucky to see this Game 3 between these two teams one more time. Take it away, our wonderful casters.
The 37th time in games that these two teams will match up against each other, and it's the last one of the season. 21-15 is the current score to the favor of Gaming Gladiators, but like Blitz said, this is no finals.
It is definitely not, and that means it's going to be a grudge match. It's going to get down and dirty, no way around it. Neither of these teams is going to want to leave this tournament empty-handed. So I'm looking towards a long game, some action, some pace, and of course, the jaws of defeat. Who can manage to escape them in this lower bracket elimination match?
Yeah, because we heard from panel, we heard backstage, we've been talking about it. Game 1 and Game 2, that was not the best form of either one of these teams. The TI pressure cooker, man, it definitely gets to people, and these teams have both slipped up and lost control of the game when they had it firmly in hand. And we'll see whether or not what happens in Game 3, whether or not they're going to elevate each other or if the pressure breaks these teams down, and who's going to remain the strongest in the end when they need it most. Ace is going to be in some trouble here, surrounded by Liquid members, and that'll be first blood to Mickey.
Nice little positioning by Liquid. 5 heroes to a rune can almost never go wrong, and I'm surprised we don't see teams do it more, because when you split up, you are giving a chance for that first blood. It'll go straight into Mickey's pocket. We talked after Game 2, what are these teams going to go to? I thought they were going to go to more scale, and I mean, what scale's harder than a Terrorblade, right? This is one of the ultimate late game heroes. You have Puck to back it off. Back it up, a lot of pick-off damage between the two supports in terms of magical burst. And I kind of agree, like, the scale looks difficult for gaming. However, we have seen Weaver just decimate heroes in the late game, right? This is not the same Weaver you're used to seeing. With the talents, with the shard, these Geminate hits come out, you get crits on them, anybody disappears. And of course, Void Spirit for Quinn. One of his signature heroes and a hero he goes back to in crunch time when everything is on the line.
Deadshot gonna try and scare him away. Ace does manage to pick up that bounty rune. It is going to be a split. So we're going to see a situation here where, yeah, you gave up first blood if you're Gaming Gladiators, but they also found one of the observer wards, and they still managed to go 2-2 on bounty runes. So a relatively even start, particularly since Nisha wasn't the one to claim the last hit. That would certainly change how this matchup goes between Void Spirit and Puck.
This is a very non-one-sided matchup. It's very skill-based. If you give Nisha first blood here, he definitely would probably run away with it. But now, Quinn has a decent shot to just win this lane. This is a matchup that he's played 1,000 times, I can guarantee it. He's very used to it. Had the block advantage to such a degree, it got under the tower, though. So it's going to push it right back into Nisha. We'll give him level 2 advantage, but I'm pretty curious to see how this plays out over the long run, because I would think Quinn can win it a little bit, but Void Spirit's just not a hero that's been in the meta recently at all. This is a hero that fell off very hard, got nerfed very hard. These Spirit Brothers are getting hit left, right, and center. He's like one of the last ones standing at this point as Ember has vacated the premises. He used to scale very hard, so this could be a Void Spirit if it gets to 60 minutes, can do some work. And yeah, Furion struggling on this bottom lane. I mean, we saw the panel talk about these side lanes for Liquid, right? They are very strong, particularly around those level 2 and 3 timings. If you don't cheese the early waves, as AUI said, these guys are probably just going to out-regen you, particularly the Skywrath Centaur lane that has been a struggle for Celery early, though he is surviving it. Of course, you had a little XP advantage off the first blood. Those things make a big difference over the long run.
I want to go back to this mid matchup just because I think the story between these two is pretty interesting. Nisha, for the longest time throughout his career, he's been heralded as the best player in the world. Maybe he still is that, maybe he's not. But Quinn has been rising. His stock is incredibly high right now due to Gaming Gladiators' performance throughout the year, and he's long been heralded as one of the best laners, first in North America, and then the rest of the world. He's proved it this year. So going up against Nisha, I think, is a little special for him. And a chance to be able to take the throne away from the current best mid in the world.
He's also talked about it. Playing in Europe this year gave him the confidence to go against these players and rise to that occasion, and we're seeing it here. The lane going Quinn's way in a matchup he's very comfortable with. 13, 14, and 3 to the 8-0 on Nisha. So he's taking an early lead. This is what you want to see in this matchup. Be able to contest those power runes later on and deny the tempo away from Nisha. on maybe the slightly stronger rotating hero here. I mean, if Puck gets a really good game here, there's not a lot to stop him, right? He's gonna cause problems for Dyrachyo in the fight. Ace can't guarantee have the lockdown for him with a Wraith Fire Blast. It's just not the best stun in the world.
Yeah, the calling can sometimes be a little bit hard to hit. Deadshot's unreliable.
Yeah, I mean, the calling might be their best tool to deal with him if he runs out of, you know, Blink Johnson and everything, but this is a good Puck scaling game if it goes really late. So both these mids can have crazy impact down the road if they get there with the true 5 to 6 slots.
Good use of the calling to block out heroes from being able to grab that Lotus.
Still, we're seeing Ace struggle up here, man. That first blood did work for Mickey, and I mean, Liquid are continuing to abuse him on the lane here. Wraith King, not the strongest level 1 and 2 hero. You're really looking for that 3 to 5, and you really want to get kills or good lane pressure out of the Skeletons. Just hasn't happened for Ace so far.
Back gonna be in trouble here. He gets one last stomp off before he goes.
Level advantage. Now double range, both level 3 to the level 2s on Liquid side, so Boxing's Eye eventually getting out XP down here, and I mean, this is a very strong lane of its own. Gaming decided to meet this aggressive lane with even more aggression. Sprout into Swarm, into just go on you, slay you, send you back to the fountain before the Vanguard can come out on Zai. Double ring is solid for the armor, but there's just not enough regen.
Yeah, Centaur starts with 0 armor, so the physical damage of Weaver is actually kind of a problem here. Picks up the Water Rune away from Nisha. Quinn continuing to have Nisha's number.
Box?
But, looks like they're going to go for this Furion kill and get it, but it's going to be a trade-off. Boxy gives up his own life, and Dyrachyo is going to be happier for it as he puts the damage back onto Zai as he tries to get out of the way. Ring of Health is picked up, and he's got a healing sound, so he'll be able to stay in lane healthy.
Oh, we got the
But Dyrachyo takes away part of that healing cell.
Extra Geminate point as well. Opted not for Sakuchi cooldown. Just packing the raw damage into Zai here and taking advantage of early Falcon Blade for some regen. This is a very strong start for Dyrachyo, top of the board here. These extra kills mean a lot for Weaver in this early game in terms of a snowball carry. This is probably the best one in the meta. They're straight back onto Zai bottom, and it should be a pickup here with that Blood Grenade taking him out.
It's great reads from Game of Gladiators. In fact, they get the kill on the top lane as well. Seeing the Skywrath Mage TP mid, they knew it was perfectly fine to be able to dive a Centaur like they're doing, and now they're just trickling in one by one. Boxy underneath the towers being assaulted, and they can't really do much about it. He's going to try and hide, healing salve a little bit just to stay alive long enough for the Centaur to get here, but it's too late. Zai cannot punish Dyrachyo.
And the creep wave went past that tier 1, so Zai lost the flag bearer creep. He lost XP on that double salve down the drain. A huge amount of economic damage done bottom. I mean, it doesn't reflect in the CS, but Dyrachyo just took 1,000 gold lead over Zai on this bottom lane at 5 minutes here. This is an explosive start for an explosive carry in this patch. And we also saw Ace use the Skeletons well top, right? That's at level 3 Wraith King timing. They found the opening there as well. So Gaming once more showing their prowess in the first 10 minutes here. One of the strongest laning teams in the world for a reason. This is the time to make use of it, right? They did not want to play these long games at TI. They did not want to play the 70-minute Midas Farm Fest. They wanted to use their strengths as a team to propel themselves to a podium finish. So far in this game 3, it's looking solid.
Power runes well controlled by Gaming Gladiators. It looks like top lane.
Oh, that's a big rune.
Double damage. Quinn trying to pounce, misses out thanks to the phase shift, but does manage to nail him with the remnant and the dead shot from across the screen. Shows up for Tofu to get the last hit, but if they can get Quinn in return, Quinn knows he can't get away, so he'll accept his fate.
I mean, he's probably happy to get the kill on Nisha, shut Nisha down. That's a big swing in XP for him that is unfavorable towards Nisha, but you know he would have liked that double damage rune. I mean, both these mids are really good rune abusers, so that's what they're really fighting for here.
Got the silence onto Dyrachyo. The burst damage isn't going to be quite enough. He gets off Sakuchi, almost killing Zai in the process, but he respects his own life more than
1v2
kill.
Falcon Blade Bracer. A lot of early tank on this Weaver trying to survive the burst, and it's paid off here. Dyrachyo continuing to have a solid laning phase, dealing with the aggression. And I mean, look at the levels of Celery. That's the other factor of this bottom lane. This Furion's level 5 before the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. This is a crazy pace for him. If he can rotate to mid, it's just pressure on all 3 lanes now for Liquid. They have to deal with this, get through this period to where their heroes hit that mid-game stride and the Terrorblade can join the fights.
Speaking of that Terrorblade, close to the Weaver in net worth, hasn't gotten the same number of kills that Dyrachyo's been able to be a part of, but has done well in the CS. And one of the only heroes that really isn't being pressured in the lanes right now, though I'm sure Gaming Gladiators will change that narrative at some point.
Man, Quinn just keeps on bringing the pain to Nisha. He does not want to let him have high resources on this map. Wants to continue to push the wave in so he can contest these power runes. This is what Void Spear can do in this matchup. You just spam the pulse. Very hard for Nisha to win these trades over the long term. Even the raindrop just getting broken down here as Quinn hunting this next wave into the power rune. Tofu lingering around as well. I mean, this is one Liquid want to contest for sure. They're going to break both supports.
They know this dive is going to be coming, trying to pull him back into the calling, and it was enough. Beautifully executed by Gaming Gladiators. Just as Insania and Boxy were making the rotation through the river, it could not have been better executed. It could not have been better timed.
This is 8-minute rune going into Quinn's pocket, unless Boxy with a heads-up TP can deny it? No. So that's both supports rotating to watch their mid die and not get the rune. This early game shaping up to be very favorable for Gaming. By the way, the whole time that happened, Ace just took your top tier 1 with some Skelly boys. So that tower's also gone, which will push Mickey farther into this jungle, open up the rotation to mid if Ace really wants it, which would not surprise me, as I feel like he's going to play this Wraith King like another Lone Druid. Go Radiance and hit the objectives.
Yep. And I wonder if he's going to go for that Aghanim Scepter that we've seen a lot from this off-lane Wraith King. That'll be pretty interesting considering how reliant Liquid is on burst, right? Their first 4 heroes we see in this game are all magic damage burst. They want to be able to get the numbers advantage. That Aghanim Scepter could ruin that entire concept. Coil underneath tower. Calling hits him a second time with the dead shot, pushing him back in. Tofu is playing this Muerta beautifully.
Showing the strength of it too. This is just not a spell you can dodge. And Nisha is struggling in this mid lane, getting outnumbered constantly, not winning the rune battles. Quinn outlaned him slightly and it created the advantage.
Oh, didn't get the silence off in time. He got off the Shikuchi as a result. And now they're going to turn. Quinn's going to show up with the Astral Steps and catch Zai. Going for more now. Dyrachyo offering the high five as he picks up the courier instead of going for the supports.
Liquid supports getting routed on the map right now. They don't have the levels to fight back. They're missing the ults on these bursts. On this burst duo that really needs them to follow up on the Centaur Stomp. Without that, you're just getting outpaced by the Furion and the Muerta here, which have the XP advantage, have the gold advantage, and are just playing around Quinn. Mid tower gone as well off that Ace backstab that I feel was inevitable. This is shaping up to be a very one-sided early game. It's going to come down to if Liquid can bring the game back. You know, that 10 to 20 minute period can be very strong for them. If they get the ults up, they find some quick bursts on the Weaver. A lot of squishy heroes on Gaming side. So you build up these streaks, you give away a couple pickoffs. Suddenly Mickey, he's going to be in a decent position.
Zai taking so much damage. The Vanguard plus the Chainmail, and it's still not enough to protect him here. Tofu does get pops. Does Nisha pay the price for it? Managed to dodge some of that damage thanks to the phase shift. And there's a lot of heroes here. Quinn's going to back away with this haste. Wait till Dyrachyo brings some reinforcement. He's going to jump onto Boxy, see if he can burst him down. He does so beautifully with the Wrath of Nature coming in. That high level of Celery is finally going to be able to pay off. Even if they don't collect the kill on Zai, just maintaining control of this area could be big for Gaming Gladiators.
This is also ancient control for Mickey later as Liquid, we're thinking about stacking up the triangle. I mean, this is the recovery farm for Nisha. You invade this early, take the fight. It's an insane amount of space for Ace, who's just gobbling up the map right now, but you're also just not getting punished for it. Haste rune, again, the power rune control, which has gone to Quinn. Really make or breaking these early fights. They are taking a significant lead here as Liquid yet to strike back so far. You've seen momentum shift drastically in these games, however, so I would not put it past them. It has to be around these coils and the stomp, right? Your supports are not going to set up these big core kills. It's got to be around Nisha or Zai setting it up and bringing in the firepower afterwards. But you are still looking for level 6 on Boxy here. That's a big component. Need this Mystic Flare.
Stampede barely gets him out. Boy, that Solar Crest combined with the Weaver burst damage was pretty tough to deal with. The coil, but the orb doesn't land. So they're going to miss a bit of damage here, but it looks like they can run down Tofu all the same. He gets off the calling, gets off a little bit damage before he falls. 12-minute power rune. Can Liquid claim one for themselves finally?
Now you know Nisha wants it. You at least get a chance at the 50-50 tier, and he gets rewarded. Regen, maybe not the most powerful, but the one he will take right now.
Particularly with a Pugna who can already refill you up.
And Dyrachyo is farming enemy ancients here, no fear. Very aggressive build, making it work. A lot of extra gold in their pocket, more economic damage going Liquid's way as this Blink Dagger for Zai is a long way off.
On the way, the Aether Remnant's going to be able to grab him. Half his health is gone in an instant. Zai is going to be bailed out by Insania, though. These are the kind of plays that Liquid is going to look to be able to save a hero and perhaps push back against Gaming Gladiators. Got to make sure Gladiators, got to make sure they do not overextend themselves. Again,
they're just farming everything, though. It's more Ancient stacks going their way. It's completely taken Liquid side of the map. And the biggest ticking time bomb here is Ace, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been watching him, but he's somehow more farmed than last game. This is going to be a faster Radiance. 13.5 minutes here. In fact, 13 on the dot. He finishes it on the Courier.
it's going to be crazy good timing. A pickup, they have to get this. They committed so many heroes for it. They do manage to bring down Dyrachyo. Almost got Celery as well. Zai just barely outside of that range.
That's that coil into Mystic Flare that they were waiting for. Mystic Flare delayed on Boxy, but the second he gets it, puts it to use. And this is a combo they can continue to use in this game. Gaming are going to be very susceptible against it until they have, you know, maybe second item round, especially for Dyrachyo on that BKB on Weaver. He dies every time in a silence from Skyrath Puck if you have the damage follow-up. So now it's just getting to Zai's beak, getting to Zai's blink, and Mickey Scotty take a fight around those items, keep finding the pickoffs with the puck off cooldown, and stall this game out.
Pick off on Mickey here behind the tier 2. Celery completes the TP, spots Mickey. Quinn gets behind him now. See if they can burst him down. They've got plenty of silences and stuns to make sure there's no chance of Asunder. And thanks to the skeletons, they can get some good damage onto tier 2. Meanwhile, Dyrachyo dodged a gank attempt. So they were both gunning for the enemy carry, but it's Gaming Gladiators who succeed.
Will result in a swift tier 2 for Ace, who has occupied this side of the map and is squeezing Liquid back into their triangle here. Another power rune did go Nisha's way, but it's an invis, so again, the rune luck continuing to be obnoxious for him. This game continues, and another quick pause.
It's a dangerous moment, too. You can see Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, they are ramping up, right? This is a cross-map smoke.
Yeah, they're moving. They're trying to cut across, see if they can catch Nisha, anybody in the triangle. And if they succeed, Ace will have gone from a 13-minute Blink Dagger to a 13-minute Radiance to like a 15-minute Blink Dagger. He's very close.
This is a deadly fight right now if you give it up. Particularly for what Mickey's trying to do. He's trying to hit these timings on Terrorblade, and every time you give up a couple of these kills, it makes it harder for him to come into the fight and have impact, because he can reflect this Wraith King back against Gaming, right? The Terrorblade can do some work, particularly if he can get Asunder off in a fight, if he's not debilitated by the Calling Silence here. Those are the things that have to line up here, which is why you need Zai and Nisha to create the initiation, or at least take the brunt of the go. The Echo finished for the Void Spear here as
that is going to be a little bit troublesome. Breaks the smoke move and goes for the pickoff onto Tofu. It's not immediate. In fact, Insania, who tried to jump forward to finish him off, is going to be running into the silence. They trade out supports, though. Zai trying to find a target somewhere in this, only stomping up Celery, but Celery doesn't care. He's pretty tanky. In fact, he turns around. Mickey is going to be stalled up. They do manage to bring down the Wraith King the first time, while the Skyrath Mage is going to be left victim to Dyrachyo's aggression. Mickey now trying to get out, but too many heroes are there. A double kill for Quinn and a 1-for-4 exchange for Gaming Gladiators.
Morita continually causing Liquid problems in these fights. It's so hard to engage into this calling, plus the Deadshot reflecting heroes into it. And of course, Skeleton's up for Ace that entire time. Did a serious amount of damage here. 3,100 pumped out from this Wraith King, just burning everybody down. Happy to trade that level 1 ult for a cleanup on that team fight. Only Nisha survives. If that coil hits on Quinn, maybe you can commit on him with the follow-up, because I have decent positioning on the backside. But again, you're still looking for the Centaur Blink here, right? You just don't have that stun initiation that brings your supports into the fight. It's a big component that's missing. They continue to look for it, and Dyrachyo continues his hunting spree.
Yeah, he's got Decrepify, so he's going to be okay for a small window of time. The silence is lasting onto Dyrachyo. Oh, we barely got off that time lapse. That was a close call, but he does it, and because maybe he lives here, still hit by the coil, a little bit more damage is all they need. The Shukuchi lasts so long, though. He's going to get another round off. They are going to follow this orb, but it's not going to be enough. Nisha's not going to catch him. He gets away. Zai dies on the other side of the map, and they still got that kill onto Insania. Gaming Gladiators are getting everything on this map and getting punished. Not at all.
Extra strength items for Dyrachyo paying off. Even that trusty shovel coming in handy there. Some HP. And yeah, I mean, the amount of Ancients they've taken off this map compared to Liquid is, it must be astounding, right? They took so many of their early stacks. They've been stacking their own side of the map as well. They have a Furion cleaning up the side wave, so this is just max efficiency right now.
The fact that he's taken so many Ancients on the side of Dyrachyo while holding that safe lane tower for this entire game. I mean, we haven't seen a tower go down. Liquid has not been able to get enough ground off of the losing laning phase.
And that's what's continuing to punish Zai here. Because Centaur is a hero that wants to open up this tier 1 off the back of early Vanguard and some lane domination. That is what Skywrath Centaur is designed to do. So when you're put in this position, there's nothing to farm for Zai here. You can't go and do Ancients, take it away from his other cores. I mean, half of those have gone to game in anyway. Where's he supposed to go, right? Still looking for this blink. 400 away. That will be the comeback opportunity here for Liquid as they have found themselves down 10K at 17 minutes. This is going to be a mountain to climb.
Two-man smoke up, Tofu and Quinn. Just like that last game where we saw the killing power of the Pugna plus Kunkka go to work, this combo has been equally deadly. They're going to try and put it to work on Zai once again, slowing down his Blink Dagger time and time again. The dead shot does not land. Can Quinn finish the job? He's going to jump in, but he immediately gets stopped up, and the overextension. Oh, he's got just a little bit left. Oh, he gets away to simulate on out, and they cannot finish the job. Even Insania on the other side. Quinn doubles back, sees the support trying to get the kill, but he dances away freely, and now Insania has got himself killed as well.
2,000 HP on a mid backline jumper. I mean, that is the Echo Ogre Club build paying off for Quinn here, and also just the delay in the timings, right? Imagine you get that connection 4 or 5 minutes ago. He's dead for sure.
Yep. Imagine you had a few more levels on the Centaur, right? He's only got 2 levels of double edge. The burst damage just wasn't there.
Zai's game is just, it's been decimated here. And we are feeling it as Liquid are also feeling it, trying to rally around these tower defense. And I mean, this is coming down to mid-game, right?
Oh, mass CPs, but the coil wasn't in time. Managed to get the blink backwards. They're going to have to just hope they get Celery, but even that Gaming Gladiators are showing they're willing to turn around and fight. And Zai's going to die again before he gets his blink dagger. The initiation missing, and pieces of it will continue to be missing as they lose yet another fight on the side of Liquid. Now they are getting desperate. Nisha cutting waves like this.
This BKB for Dyrachyo is coming out. It might just seal the deal in terms of you bursting the Weaver here. All these heroes just look so damn tanky.
Yeah.
You got a Mystic Flare, and it has to connect. It has to connect big here. And soon for Liquid, you're just looking at another early high ground because Gaming have not been afraid to push the tempo very fast and go high ground early, especially building up the auras here. You're going to have a pipe from Celery. Gabe says, well, this game is almost over.
You got a 3% chance. That's what it gives you, Liquid.
Let me just say, though, I feel like I've won some games where I had worse odds than that.
Yeah. Get the BKB out of Dyrachyo. Again, the 3rd time he's picked up a BKB, and the first charge is used defensively, but I'm sure this one feels a lot better because they're killing Zai again. 7 deaths in 20 minutes. That has to be one of the highest death counts I've ever seen Zai have in his illustrious career.
This is a rough one for sure, and it's not going to be a pretty way back, right? You're just going to have to do it dirty and blink in, die every fight, and hope it's enough to carry it off the damage from the puck and the Terror Blade.
Yeah, that's the funny part, right? It doesn't get any better for Centaur when you're behind like this.
So he's still looking for that blink. He will eventually get it. It will be a glorious day when it happens.
I don't know. He's been hard stuck on that 2K net worth for a while.
He can sell some items here. It's okay.
That's true. That's true.
He has it guaranteed.
Well, he can't sell the Quelling Blade. Got to keep that at all times. That Furion is going to be super annoying for him. But you're right, 50 gold away. It'll happen. As long as he doesn't die, he can literally just sit in his base and wait.
No, he's chill. He's farming. Farming some pine cones in the corner right now. Untouched. Blink Dagger is bought here for Zai. He will finally get to it in this game. And now you have to do something with it. But that's step 1.
Yeah, that was step 1 of about, I would say, 20 different steps for a Liquid comeback. Because Gaming Gladiators, they're super tanky. They've got a second life on Ace at all times, 6 reincarnation. Dyrachyo has a BKB. So yeah, you've got the initiation, but can you actually burst anybody before they get off their magic meter?
Not if the fight starts with Ace just going in, right? That's the nightmare for Liquid. If Ace just starts the fight, you have to punch through him twice. It's going to make sure that Dyrachyo gets his BKB off and Quinn gets a guaranteed jump. That's what Gaming are looking for. And Ag's done for Quinn. This is extremely fast on top of the Echo here. This is where the Void Spirit puck matchup becomes almost unplayable, right? Like, what is Nisha supposed to do into this double pulse that's silencing him? Quinn's going to have his freedom. BKB also done for Ace. So one of those lives, he's going to be running around immune for 9 seconds. But we did get the Scotty on Nikke, and this is one of the big comeback mechanisms for Liquid. If you can get a good fight with a reflection on Ace with Scotty just kiting out these heroes.
Seller cuts him off, but 10 HP, he does die in the end. Meanwhile, mid lane, they actually are fighting this one out. Quinn,
one hit.
once again, survives on just a little bit of damage. He actually went for that kill, you madman. The block, the shield is just enough. They get Celery out of it, but Mickey, he's going to be in trouble. As soon as Zai dies, they're going to turn all their attention over to this guy. They hit the He gets it just on the tip. Quinn survives and gets Mickey killed with his final touch.
Liquid gets split on the map, and it just goes horrible here as they get nothing out of it outside of Celery top, which you wanted this Quinn kill again. It's very close. Mickey shows up with the Scotty. You get the connection. This is what you're looking for with that Blink Hoof Stomp reveal at 22 minutes, and still, Gaming just outpacing you with the HP here. Your damage has continuously been behind, trying to up it up. It's just not there yet. And yeah, Ace, he's going to start every fight if he can. That was one of those rare opportunities where you got a chance to go on Quinn. You got to make those count.
Just seems like the laning phase has given Gaming Gladiators that extra bit, like 10% more HP they've needed every single time, or almost every single time, to survive through the initiation. And it is beginning to snowball. Every single fight going worse and worse for Team Liquid. Now up to a 19,000 net worth lead for Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, it's out of control, right? And a lot of it's just on Celery and Tofu cleaning up so much of the map. Furion thrives in these situations where you can corner the enemy early off a good lane win and just clean up the lanes. I mean, full pipe Solar Crest on Celery. He's just going to build every utility item in the bank, make sure his cores are unkillable. The Glimmer Cape on Tofu is what bailed Quinn out on that mid lane as well. These are difficult items for Skywrath to play into, which is why this deficit is so looming, because you have to have this Mystic Flare connect. And every one of these utility items that come out makes it a little more difficult.
And the Terror Blade becomes even easier for Gaming Gladiators to bring down with a completed Mjolnir for Dyrachyo.
Damage is coming, and it's coming fast. 2 minutes left on the Aegis here. Do you go high ground?
Yeah, I mean, they already picked it down to half, so
yeah,
might as well.
You are going high ground.
They can try and burst him, take away that Aegis as quick as possible. Not enough. Zai dies for pretty much nothing, because Dyrachyo just shrugs off that damage with the time lapse. And the Glyph will only stall Gaming Gladiators for so long. Liquid, they are in desperate straits now. A little bit of heal put on to Mickey, but you don't have to worry about the heroes if you're Gaming Gladiators. You can focus on the objectives.
Yeah, just wait for Ace to jump right. These reflections are what hurt. If Mickey keep getting these off, this is what will actually deal the damage in the fight. That's why
that Radiance back around. Instant silence under the coil. Is it enough damage though? Once again, he's held in place, but he's too tanky. Mickey can't quite commit. Not with Gaming Gladiators. The rest of heroes surging forward. They got that one kill. Immediate buyback though from Insania to hold this lane of barracks, and Gaming Gladiators will respect it.
Just refill the resources here. No time lapse on Dyrachyo. Don't want to spend BKBs in a bad situation when you can just reset and continue to build your lead here.
Does mean they're going to be a little bit pushed for time if they would still want to use this Aegis. They got 1 minute left, so Dyrachyo, they just cruise straight down middle. They could still make good use of it.
Yeah, they can. I mean, this AC is almost completed for Ace. He's one component away. So the next 2 minutes could have it if he just farms up the entire map.
Do you feel like Gaming Gladiators?
Also, no meta.
Is there a rush to take this lane of barracks?
I mean, no, but the opening's there because you know Mickey doesn't have meta. And there's no way Liquid are taking a fight without it, right?
So how much do you take then? Is the question.
It is the question.
There is a welcome mat on the front middle lane.
Nobody's home.
Gaming Gladiators just walk right through the door, take the lane of barracks. There are no tier 2s. So they can translate this into even more. Team Liquid will be forced back to defend at some point.
Yeah, there's a wave in their base with the catapult. There's another wave coming in. They did not cut these. There's just a free double lane. There's no towers bottom as well. You're looking at Mega's potential. In a meta where the high ground has thwarted so many teams, Gaming just stroll into a double lane here. No defense, no contest, as that meta is still 50 seconds off cooldown here.
I think
feels
the
like
worst
an eternity.
It doesn't feel like Liquid is getting an item. It's not like, oh, we gave up 2 lanes of barracks, but now we have this. This will help us win everything. As, oh, Nisha gets caught up by that one. Phase shift is able to blink away. The clawing's going to be a problem, but he does manage to blink, but straight in the arms of Dyrachyo. Easily takes up that kill and looks for more. Insanity's going to be claimed out. That's a dieback for him. Zai dies right next to the fountain. Gaming Gladiators are way too strong for Liquid right now, and they're going to go for the killing blow by taking Megas in the bottom lane. Again, there is really nothing rolling in for Liquid. Mickey is desperately trying to farm up with DKB, but he's one whole component away.
Ace straight back
almost
in.
one-shotting Boxy. Barely even
crits.
needed Quinn's help.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with this meta. 5 seconds on the cooldown for Mickey. Just praying he has enough time to get this, use it, make something happen.
Managed to grab him. Dies again. Zai.
Where's the team? They're all dead. I mean, meta.
Mickey against the world. Ace immediately going to jump onto him. Anybody help out Mickey? No chance at Asunder, and GG is called. Gaming Gladiators will do it for the 22nd time this season. They will bring down Team Liquid. They've had their number all year round, and they will prove it on the biggest stage that Dota 2 has to offer.
That is a very frustrating defeat for Liquid. I mean, this has been their nemesis the whole season long, and most of it's been in the grand finals. Here you're in the lower bracket elimination match. That game 2, the game 1 especially, where those high grounds went wrong for both teams, right? Either of those games can come back to haunt you depending on if you win or lose this series. And as Liquid drop down here, it's one of those series where you go back, you play that game a bunch of times, how many versions of it do you win, right? And I mean, a hell of a season from both teams here. They will meet each other yet again. So much respect between these two.
For one final time at this year's TI, we're going to say goodbye to Team Liquid, one of the most consistent teams, but never able to find that championship, and sadly it'll slip through their fingers this year. Gaming Gladiators, though, holding strong in that lower bracket. I mean, we set up the stage early on at Riyadh. We talked about how this team was always going through the upper bracket, always taking an easy road to be able to get to the finals, but then they got knocked down at Riyadh. They get knocked down at TI. They prove that they're also a lower bracket run team as they do it against their nemesis in Team Liquid.
I mean, resilience, it's a hell of a quality to have, right? And it shows itself here. It's showing across the course of the year. This team has a lot of fans. They also have a lot of haters. It's a mixed bag across the board, but damn do they look good when they're winning, and when they're building momentum, they are one of the scariest teams in the world.
Absolutely. Love to be able to watch some more Gaming Gladiators game, and we're going to do it here at TI as we head back to the panel for some more series to come.